Days of Activism. Today is day number 9 of the 16 Days of Activism against gender-based violence. And today we're going to be addressing violence against women and girls this morning on the radio. All right. And very, very important. I have Miss Margaret Honor with me here on the radio, and she supports grassroots capacity building for the eradication of female genital mutilation, early marriage, access to HIV and reproductive health services. She's also the master trainer facilitator as the SDGs of the National Youth Service Corps NYSC since 2007 till date. She is a strong voice in Nigeria on issues of inclusion of sex workers on the HIV program at the national level. And she's also known nationally and globally on her campaign against female genital mutilation and adoption of the alternative rites of passage in Nigeria. All right. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Yes, it's an honor to have you with us this morning. And also, I think I should also let people know that your campaign has produced about 4,074 girls of first generation uncircumcised girls from 15 communities, which have openly declared to an end in female genital mutilation in Cross River. Thank you so much for the work that you do. It's an honor to have you here with us on the radio.
I'm glad to be here.
Yes. Now let's dive straight into this conversation with regards to female genital mutilation. Also gender-based violence, and one of the forms of gender-based violence which can also be related to female genital mutilation. Now, for those who are listening who do not really understand what female genital mutilation, can you give us detailed explanation on this?
Yeah, female genital mutilation or female circumcision is the total or partial removal of the female external genitalia, the clitoris, without any medical benefits. When a woman or a girl child is born in some communities, they will cut off her clitoris. The clitoris is in her vagina, and they'll take it off either at day 8. Some it will be maybe when you are 5 years, some 10 years, some when you are an adolescent, age 15 to 19. Some even as a woman, when you're about to get married, the night of your bride price payments, they'll cut off your clitoris and say they are initiating you into womanhood. And in some communities, if it's not done all this time, you get pregnant and you're about to deliver, at the 7th month of your pregnancy, they'll cut off your clitoris. So, and in some communities, they might not cut it. They will use they'll take boiled water and put a cloth in it or a napkin in it and squeeze it and press it, all in the name of to deaden the clitoris so it will not be functional. Yeah.
What do you think has allowed our people or people of such communities where they believe this practice is right to hold on to such beliefs? Because like you have said, there is no medical reason for doing this. In fact, there is more danger that the woman is at more risk if this is done to her. What do you think has allowed in communities to hold on to this form of way of life?
Well, in every community where I've gone to, it's not just in Nigeria, in Africa, in Europe, in the Arab world, they are doing female genital mutilation, and all they talk about is that it's their tradition. It's their tradition. They don't want the women to be promiscuous. They want the women to be faithful to their husbands.
Okay,
that's their reason. It's not because there's no benefit. Like I said, it's their tradition, it's their culture that every woman, the clitoris must be cut off. So they don't want you to be empowered. They don't want you to have sexual pleasure. They believe that when a woman, has sexual pleasure, that she's going to be promiscuous. She's going to be going from one man to another. She's not going to be faithful to her husband.
Well, these are the basic things that why the 16 Days of Activism is very, very important for us to talk about it. And it's also very important for me to also get your perspective of what's your view to this particular 16 Days of Activism stand against gender-based violence.
Yeah. 16 Days of Activism is it's really a great opportunity for us all globally to be able to talk about gender violence. Gender violence has been there everywhere, at home, in our communities, in our offices, everywhere there's gender-based violence. And this 16 days of activism is a global UN time whereby everybody comes around to talk about it.
Yes.
Because we need to keep talking about gender-based violence. Keep talking about it. For people to know it is, they're not going to stop it. So gender-based generally must be talked about everywhere we are, so that people will know that this thing is wrong.
Which is very important. All right,
Yeah.
thank you. This is still the big question on Women Radio 91.7. You can be part of this conversation by sending us a text or a WhatsApp message on 070-317-56537, 070-317-56537. You can also call in this morning to be part of the conversation. Stand against gender-based violence is what we are looking at this morning on the radio. Now, in your in the communities you have worked in with regards to the issues with regards to gender-based violence, early child marriage, and the likes, do you think that we have been able to make progress over the years?
Yeah, a lot of progress really has been made. We keep creating awareness, building the capacity of the people.
Okay.
Let them know what we are talking about. We are not just saying stop. Why are we saying when you circumcise a child, that child is very painful. The child is going to bleed. Sometimes that wound is not going to heal. The equipment that they use in circumcising these girls, they are not just going to circumcise one girl at a time. They bring so many of them together and circumcise them, keep them in that one room. And the way they handle them, when anyone bleeds amongst them, the health centers are not closed so much that you can quickly go there. Even when you get there, they might not even be able to attend to them to say, let us stop it. So we go to the communities, we meet with the traditional leaders, we meet with the religious leaders, women's group, youths. We empower them and tell them, these are the health challenges of female circumcision. The WHO said no more to this because our girls are dying. When women are pregnant, the clitoris helps the woman to be able to deliver. In the absence of the clitoris, it becomes difficult for her. She's pushing for the baby to come out. And that makes the woman to be in labor for a very long time. Either the baby becomes weak, or both the mother and the child, they become weak. They can die, either both of them. When we ask them, does this happen in your community? They say yes. So these things are happening, but they don't know why it happens. They'll say maybe but we tell them it's as a result of the absence of the clitoris in that woman's vagina.
How is that fight coming through with regards to when you go to communities where this is people in that community, so that it doesn't look like you're trying to judge them for something that they have done? How do you have that conversation?
Yes. The thing is, you don't go there with I have all the knowledge and come, let me pass on knowledge to you.
Okay.
We sit down with them, we dialogue. We ask, tell us what this thing is about. To tell you the knowledge we have. So by the time we listen to their knowledge and they listen to our own knowledge, they compare. They say, oh, we didn't know this are inclusive.
Okay.
We thought it's just for us to initiate our girls into womanhood and have our ceremonies and our gifts exchange. We didn't know that this pain and bleeding and even resulting in death, when the woman is pregnant, is part of it. No, we don't know about this. So when they are able to have knowledge, they begin to tell each other, do you know Mama did this? See how long she had labor. See how her children died. See this happened. That woman had wound in her vagina for a long time. We didn't know it was as a result of all this. So by the time we are able to pass these messages, we build their capacities so that they go back to tell their friends. Go and tell your friend, this is what is wrong when this is done. And we ensure that you go tell 20 people about the things that are wrong with this. By the time you are able, 20 people are able to tell each 20 persons, the message is going around.
Okay.
And then I said, okay, if this is it, then we'll have to stop it. So we don't just go there and say, you must accept our knowledge. Because when you do that, they're like, these people want to introduce Oyibo culture. Because Oyibo people don't circumcise their girls. So they don't want us to do it.
Okay.
So they need to know why we are saying it should not be done. Another thing we do is that the clitoris is involved in sexual pleasure. For the man, they are doing it because they want to please the man.
Okay.
Until the man is able to understand that clitoris helps both the man and the woman to have sexual pleasure, and that sex is a fundamental human right for both males and females.
Yes.
So once the men are able to understand the rights of a woman too to have sexual pleasure, they begin to listen. And they're like, oh, we see our women. In fact, there was a community I went to. After we finished sensitizing them, one of the chiefs just stood up and said, look, Margaret, yes, our women are experiencing this. They're not having sexual pleasure just the way you're describing it as a result of this. So what do we do? And now the men, they're interested. Because they are not going to speak about sex openly.
Yes.
Them and their wives, there's no communication to discuss how they are feeling, whether they're having sexual pleasure or not. But by the time they are educated and they know the impact of cutting the clitoris and sexual pleasure, they now say, no, our daughters are not going to be cut anymore.
What about those who are adamant, those who are stubborn, who are refusing to agree that the knowledge about stand against female genital mutilation is not a white man's colonial idea? How do you deal with such individuals to get them convinced about it?
What we do is we don't force anybody. We allow people that with increased awareness.
Okay.
Yeah. When even in some of those communities, we have radio programs that as you just log in, as you just tune into your radio, you will hear our jingles going on, consent. So as it continual, educating them, you see that they are beginning to respond. They say, okay, this thing, they've said it over and over, and they have to just, buy into it as well.
All right, 28 minutes past 9. This is still the big question on Women Radio 91.7. If you are just joining us, we're having a conversation this morning with regards to day 9 of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence in Nigeria. And I have this morning Margaret Honor, who is a sexual and reproductive health advocate in Nigeria, and she has been doing fantastic job with various communities in Cross Rivers. Now, how do we ensure that there is more participation of men in this stand against gender-based violence? Like you gave example of certain communities where you have been to and how they were able to respond, how the men were the ones now being the ones championing this cause. How do we get to have more men across Nigeria championing gender-based violence?
Thank you so much. Are really very willing to be part of the campaign. When we sit down, we have clubs where men that support female that supports our campaign, and we have them as journalists, we have them as husbands, we have them as and we have them as journalists, we have them as husbands, we have them as traditional leaders. They are our ambassadors. So when you agree to be part of us, we train you so that you know the messages you're going to carry on. Because if you don't have the right information, you'll not be able to give the message.
Okay.
So we bring in men, and in every place we talk about this and we ask for men to be part of it. They are always very willing to be part of it. They are always very willing.
Okay.
Because a lot of men, they really don't want this violence that women are experiencing. Yeah, it's just some few that they don't give a damn whether.
What are some eye opener that the coronavirus helped you to see that you hadn't seen before now? What are some of those eye openers?
Oh my god. This shutdown of the coronavirus really did a lot of havoc. Gender based violence really increased. A lot of women were violated, children were sexually violated. Fathers turning using their children. There was a case we had that a 6-month-old baby, the father even was having sex with. We had so many issues. Men beating their wives. They were not always staying at home. Even the female genital mutilation, it was on the increase
during the pandemic.
Yes, because the children were staying at home. They were not going to school. So going to school was like a place where they could run away from home. But now they were all at home. They kept calling me that, look, that they are circumcising their daughters. What are they going to do? The ambassadors that we have, because we have trained a lot of youths in those communities.
Okay.
And they were calling that their parents were circumcising a lot of their girls. So we tell them to try to call the local government women affairs director. But because of the movement,
restriction on movement.
Yeah, they couldn't do much at that time. But there were so many cases of that.
Mm.
And then the early child marriage too.
Yes.
You know, so many parents, when they didn't have money to eat again, they were giving their daughters to men that have money to collect money so that they could. In fact, it was a great havoc.
You know, I was reading one of the reports yesterday by National Human Rights Commission. It was talking about Anambra State recording about 400 cases of violence against women between January and November. And when I read those numbers, I was like 400 cases of violence against women and children.
It's not an exaggeration. It's true.
And so, how do we begin to find lasting solutions to some of these issues? I know we have leverage on, we need to do more advocacy, but this advocacy looks like as we do more advocacy, there are more cases. So what then do we do?
The problem we have in Nigeria is that the laws are not being implemented. We have the laws because the law is slow. I think I want to say so. The process, there's a case on hand. It has been established that this person was raped or was violated. The perpetrator may be arrested, gets to the police. The process between the police and the courts, oh my God, they'll tell you they don't have papers to write out the cases, how they will file their things. Then they'll tell you go just up and down. And at the end, they might settle maybe tips and all that, and the case will be dropped. And so the perpetrators will not be judged.
Okay.
So that is a problem in this country. Laws are not being implemented until we insist that every violator of any woman or child must be put behind bars. Then you see that people will, the perpetrators, you see that they'll be able to, let me be careful, because if these people get me, they'll put me in jail.
All right. Let's try to look at that for a moment and look at, now that that is the case, that we are seeing that our laws have not been fully effective. What other measures can we explore for us to ensure the message is driven to every home and every corner of the Federation?
Well, media is a strong weapon.
Okay.
Yeah, media is a strong weapon. If we have these messages on radios, on television, jingles, and every time it's going on, people will be reminded, that these things are happening. And if there's a case, you have to report. That case of, a lot of people don't want to talk. They are shy that if they report that somebody has been raped or an FGM case has been done on a child, that the others will be mocking at them, People don't want to speak out. So we must encourage people to speak out. Whenever there's any gender-based violence issue, people should not keep quiet. It doesn't matter. Speak out. It's not until you speak out that there'll be help. If you don't speak out, there's not going to be help. And don't wait until whether the person is related to you or is not related to you. We have mandatory reporters. So if you know that somebody is violating somebody in that house and you overheard, or a neighbor is talking about it, just go and report, because the numbers are there.
Now, you made a statement of, just go and report. But we're in a community where, let's use Lagos for an example. In the old, it used to be, it takes a community to raise a child. But now we see where everybody is minding their business.
Exactly.
We build fences that are taller than our buildings nowadays. So you literally might not be 100% sure what's going on in the next neighbor's house. And the fact that there is, we're still dealing with the fact of the protection of those who are going to give this information out to the police. We've had cases of somebody reporting their neighbors to the police, and then the neighbor coming back to find out that it was actually them that reported. What are we doing to solve that particular chain of ensuring that we are trying to protect someone, and then at the end of the day, we are not even going to get protected?
Okay. What we do in all our cases is that we don't identify the reporters. We don't let we have like in the community now, we have the community development association people, the CDAs. We have our people that work with us. Like in Lagos State now, we have the Child Protection Network. And the Child Protection Network is in all the LGAs. We have our members in each local government. We go to the communities to sensitize them. We give them our numbers so that they can call. We let people in the schools, we go to schools also to sensitize the schools so that people will have information on where to report to. And when they report, we don't identify the reporters. No, we don't do that. We just go and investigate. As we investigate, we will be able to trace whether it's true. And we have a Mirabel Center where if there's a case of rape now, they will go there to go and be sure that, to prove it, that it's true. And once it's proven, the police now will arrest the person, and we make sure that everything is being done. We go to court to be able to get.
How many cases have you been able to get through to the final stage in the court? Because you spoke about the legal system. I spoke with Braveheart Initiative, I think sometimes on Monday, and then she was talking about how, certain cases, she has even lost some of our staff members, to some of this, trying to pursue a particular case to see to the very end. What are some of the challenges that you face with regards to, in this mission of trying to make the world a better place for women and girls?
It's not been easy at all to be able to prove a case most times, because like I said, those cases will start by the time we get to the police to get to court. The problem starts. Come today, come tomorrow. They don't have this, they don't have that. We are not able to provide maybe the resources that they will need to be able to get these cases established. So most times the cases are not being conclusive, So what do we do? But some were concluded, and the perpetrators were jailed. The good thing in Lagos State is that the government of Lagos State is really involved with laws.
Okay.
The domestic and sexual violence team at the Lagos State government, is very, very hardworking, and they ensure that no matter where cases are, once it's reported to them, they follow up. And the Child Protection Network also is a very strong network.
Okay.
That wherever these cases are, that we try to follow up to see how much we can do to ensure justice, is achieved. But like I said, it's in the judiciary we have most of our problems, because the law most times is delayed or not even effected. So that's just the challenge we have there.
All right. This is still the big question on Women Radio 91.7. Let's get your comments this morning on the conversation we're having. We're talking gender-based violence, stand against gender-based violence. And for the next 2 weeks, so this is the 9th day of the 16 days of activism, which we have started since day one, which was last week, Wednesday. We had effectively started and been putting out this message out there. 07000 917 917 and 090 256 254 55. One of the major issues that we're still dealing with is regards to, we realized how much there was a lot of issues with regards to funding. A lot of NGOs complain about funding. How has it been for you with regards to funding and, taking up some of this mission? Over 4,000 girls, I don't think that's a joke. 15 communities, that's a plus. But when you talk about funding, how there's been said that there is need for more funding for us to be able to win this war. So I need to get your perspective on this.
Yeah. Like I always tell everybody, yes, the fundings are just thinning in. It's not there as it used to be anyway. But as far as there's work to be done, there are funders that are ready to see how they can support work to move on. I have some funders like the Amplify Change.
Okay.
The first generation. There's an organization called the Girl Generation.
Okay.
There's the Global Media Campaign to End FGM. They have been very, very supportive of all our campaigns. In fact, they go to the communities at times with us. They are based in England, but once in a while they come around. But they make sure that we have fundings wherever we tell them the degree of violence, like female genital mutilation. Tell them the degree of violence, like female genital mutilation now, like those communities where it's high prevalence. So they try to give us good grants to be able to work. So we've been having grants, but still we need more grants to be able to work better.
All right, this is still Women Radio WFM 91.7. Margaret here, sharing her own stories with regards to some of the communities that she has been in, and also telling us how we can all be part of this. Now, for somebody who is listening and they want to be part of this movement on standing against gender-based violence, how can they start? How can they get involved? I think you should actually tell us your story on what exactly drove you into getting involved with this particular struggle and fight.
Okay. In 2004, I saw that the women in sex work. No, sorry. In 2004, I was doing my my internship with Project Alert on Violence Against Women.
Okay.
And I was privileged to be one of the facilitators of the research they were doing on trying to have the knowledge of women that have knowledge on HIV. So I was sent to the brothels to go and interview some girls. When I got to the brothels, I thought the girls that are in sex work are big women. But I saw very young girls of age 20, in their 20s. So I went back to tell my madam that the girls I saw in that place, I don't think they were sex workers, that they were so young. So she was laughing at me and said, no, that those were real sex workers, that I should go back. So I went back to the brothel and was able to talk to them, and they now attended to my questionnaires. When I left, before I left there, I asked them if they wanted to leave that trade and what they want to do, you know. So when I go back, I started thinking about them, and I was like, why would one actually bring these girls out of the brothel? And there were so many. I got so worried, you know.
Okay.
And in the process of that being worried, God began to talk to me on what I could do to go and educate them on their sexual and reproductive health.
Yes.
So I started going there to talk to them on their health issues, the challenge that it's, you know, the work they were doing, the health issue of that, in the implication. And by the time I began to talk to them, some of them were like, oh, if we have somebody to bring us out of this place, I think we want to go. But when I got there now to see how they could give them an alternative or livelihood, I saw it wasn't as easy as
you thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it wasn't easy at all. So I said, no, I won't be able to continue in that way. So it's not bringing them out now, it's giving them knowledge. So I kept going to educate them on HIV and STIs. As I started educating them, I saw that I was able to educate so many of them. And they now became like my peer educators. As I come here, I educate people in this brothel. I tell you to go to other brothels to educate them. And I began to have a pool of sex workers that were ready to educate themselves.
Has there been any threat to this job?
No. Well, threats to sex work, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, sure.
When, like, you advocating for more girls to be out of this form of sex, has there been any threat to you?
No.
Okay.
No, there haven't been any threats to me.
Okay.
Yeah, the only challenge we had is police arrests. Police goes, maybe we are training girls and police will come now to arrest everybody and all that. But we now had a relationship with the police in Lagos State. With the commissioner, I went there, pay advocacy, made them to be part of our trainings. Yeah, so that they will know what the challenges of these girls are. Yes, sex work is not legal in Nigeria, but before these girls became sex workers, they are human beings and they are women, so they have rights. So we said, you just come. The brothel is their house, so you just come now. You're not, even in Nigeria, they said they must be caught in the act. If you're not catching them in the act and they're just sitting there, while arresting them? Because they will take them into their vans, take them to their station, sleep with them without a condom. They infect them and infect themselves. So we say it's not right. That's not the way it should be done. So anytime these girls are arrested, they send for us. We go and try to bail them and all that. But we started advocating to them to see why we are saying that these girls should not be. Now anybody can just come. An area boy can just go to the brothel, beat a girl, kill her, and nobody's going to say anything because she's in sex work. We say, no, it's wrong. There should be somebody to speak for them. So we now stand to speak for the sex workers, that they have rights too. You don't just come and kill them. So if everybody is a sex worker, they should all be killed? We say, no, it shouldn't be that way. So we don't have any threat as working with them, but it's them, because they are being arrested, their customers will abuse them and nobody will be there. But now what we do is that we work with the managers of the brothels. We work with their cheerleaders to ensure that in case they run into any problem, they can always come and call us so that we can build them out.
You talked about involvement of the police with regards to this particular thing, and that's something that I think in some police stations right now there's something called the gender desk. But how do we get the police to be more effective with us in this fight? Because there are stories with regards to how police officers have tried to settle certain cases of rape within the police station and just let it go. I heard of a particular story. This one happened somewhere in Badagry, where a man raped a particular child. and then they just called the mother and settled the mother 200,000 naira and told the man to go. But how do you make these officers who are supposed to be the ones to ensure that these perpetrators do not go scot-free, also not be the ones allowing perpetrators to go without being punished?
You see, a lot of those gender desk places at the police station, because the people that are supposed to be there, maybe they are always transferring them. They'll transfer them once they are being trained, because they are being trained. When they are trained on the work they are doing, those ones that are trained on the work, they know what to do. They'll never say that the cases should be thrown off like that. But if you train somebody at this police station and after 6 months is sent out to some other place, they bring somebody who is not trained. That person who is not trained is going to do this kind of a thing. So it's more training we just have to keep doing until they are trained and they understand the implication of what it is. Then they'll be able to ensure that any case that comes, that is why we are saying that the laws are not being implemented because of this kind of issue of trying to settle out of a court, out of the police station, and some money. People are poor, so when you give them a certain amount of money that they have not seen before, why not? They'll collect the money and said, let them don't continue with the case.
Let's talk about the survivors right now and look at what is being done to always help them with their mental state, especially for a survivor who has experienced some form of gender-based violence or the other. What do you do to help them, get back on their feet to build their capacity?
We have like the Mirabel Center I told you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more or less clinical and psychosocial.
Okay.
Where they'll go there, they'll be counseled, and with the process of trying to cancel them, they are able to come out of it. And the DBST at Alausa as well.
Okay.
Is a place, they have a shelter and they have all the things there for counseling, that whenever there's this case, they are sent there and it's taken care of.
All right. As we begin to call the program to a wrap, let's look at government and civil societies, development partners. How do we ensure that there is more efforts together now collectively?
Yeah.
I can't remember what I was speaking with yesterday, and we're talking about how everybody is working on their own and there is no coherent unity among everybody to really fight this, and that's why the fight is looking like we haven't made a lot of progress. But moving forward, what do we need to do to ensure that this fight is done together more collectively?
Yeah, like I'm always giving Lagos State as my own example because I've always worked here. Lagos State is doing a lot, trying to bring the civil society together with government so that we can all work together to be able to get a solid result.
Okay.
Like the domestic and sexual violence team.
Okay.
Yeah, they ensure that every organization that is working with women and children on gender violence issues, we are on the platform. They form a network where we are all there, so that in any location where this thing occurs, they'll be able to get in touch with that person, and you go and do your work in your community and report back. About 3 weeks ago, there was a case where I was called because I'm the secretary of the Child Protection Network of Ikeja local government. Okay. And there was this video that was viral of a school in Okera where one man was abusing some students. Just a mandatory reporter sent that video, and we got to see it. And I was called. I went to the school to find out. I went and I was able to trace who the person was. And then I called the SVT team from Alausa. They too got all the other people, the police, the education. We went to that place and arrested the man. The man is still in their custody. So when we all work as a team, it makes things work better. And Lagos State is really doing well on that. Okay. In fact, the first lady of Lagos State is really, even the governor himself, even right from the past regime, Governor Ambode, he works on the street with us, to ensure that sexual violence, stops in Lagos State.
Well, we have to wrap this conversation now, and I'd just like to have your final words and also find out what your stand on gender-based violence.
Yeah, gender-based violence must stop. And I'll continue to shout, to say wherever there's gender-based violence anywhere in this country, in my community, in the world, whoever is involved must be arrested, must face the law. We must not leave anybody because of your position and say because he's this or he's that, and the person should be let off. No, whoever is a perpetrator and is proven must face the law. And people in the communities, they must not keep their mouth shut. Whether it's a father in the house whether it's a friend, an uncle, a grandfather, whoever that is responsible, must be reported.
All right. Thank you so much, Margaret, for joining us this morning. And I must thank you for your time and the good work that you are doing. Women Radio is strongly behind you. Like, we 100% support what you're doing. And always would love to have you here. And every time there is a platform or there is an event, please let us know. We'd always want to be involved as Women Radio, as always.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here, and I promise to always come back.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. At 10 o'clock, we'll be Radio Doctor. Once again, special thanks to Margaret Honor for coming out here today to speak about this. And God bless you and your organization for what you do.
Thank you so much.
All right. It's a wrap on the big question this morning. To my producer, Bukola, to the production team of Bukola Balogun. Good morning to us all.
Like us.
And if you don't love us,
Like us.
and if you don't love us,
Like us.
It's facebook.com/.
WFM 917.
if you want to see what we look like,
We slay.
subscribe to our channel on